The cold night air was thick with tension as Haruto crouched behind the wooden lattice of the Minamoto estate, his breath visible in the frosty darkness, clutching the worn hilt of his now useless sword as distant footsteps echoed down the narrow alley. The cries of the newborn heir inside the estate's chambers pierced through the silence like a knife, raw and desperate, while shadows danced beneath flickering paper lanterns, and Haruto's mind raced. A former ronin, stripped of honor, his fate hanging by a thread, now faced with a secret no man dared speak aloud. To become a male wet nurse, a role so rare it bordered on myth, reserved for those desperate enough to abandon pride for survival. Memories of his days under Lord Okabe flashed. The clang of steel in the training yard, the proud shout of his master, the cruel betrayal that left him wandering the cold streets of Kyoto with nothing but a fading name and empty pockets. And now, fate had pushed him into the forbidden chambers of the estate, where old Guro, the secret healer, waited to begin the grueling ritual to awaken the unnatural gift within him. You must endure pain beyond what the body knows, Guro whispered, eyes sharp and steady, for the child's life depends on it. Days turned to weeks as Haruto drank bitter brews of fenugreek and wild herbs, subjected himself to chest massages that left bruises, practiced breathing exercises to stimulate his body's transformation, all while whispering lullabies to the fragile infant, whose survival rested in Haruto's unsteady hands. Rumors swirled beyond the estate walls. Whispers that the Minamoto heir was nourished not by woman's milk but by a man's breast, voices laden with suspicion and scorn, and deadly politics brewed as the Taira clan sought to exploit this scandal to destroy their rivals. Haruto's nights became a blend of tenderness and fear, nursing the child in hidden rooms, eyes ever watchful for assassins sent to silence the secret, while bonds of unexpected love grew between the man and the boy, the child's trust blossoming as Haruto sang ancient songs and told stories of honor and courage. But the war was coming, and with it, betrayal from within, as the boy's uncle schemed to seize power, branding Haruto a witch and traitor before the imperial court, forcing Haruto to flee through treacherous mountain paths with the child clutched to his back, their journey a brutal test of endurance and faith. In the misty mountain monasteries, the Yamabushi monks pushed Haruto to the brink, demanding pain and sacrifice, while the fragile boy clung to life and milk that only Haruto could provide. Years passed, battles raged below in the lowlands, and when the boy came of age, he returned with Haruto to reclaim his birthright, their bond unbreakable and forged in hardship. The Genpei War saw the rise of the Minamoto banners again, and Haruto, once a disgraced ronin, stood as the guardian of the boy destined to lead, proving that strength comes not only from the sword but from love, sacrifice, and the courage to nurture life in the face of death. As the first rays of dawn spilled over the snow-dusted pines, Haruto and the young Minamoto heir pressed deeper into the mist-laden mountains, their breaths heavy with cold and fear, the boy's small hands clutching the rough silk sash binding him to Haruto's back. Every step was a battle against exhaustion, every sound a potential threat in the silent forest where bandits and Taira's spies could lurk. Haruto's mind raced with memories of the cold halls of Kyoto, the whispered threats from the court, and the countless nights spent nursing the fragile infant beneath flickering lantern light, knowing well that discovery meant death for both of them. The Yamabushi monks awaited them at the secluded mountain temple, their eyes like burning coals, demanding proof of resolve before offering sanctuary. "This is no place for the weak," their leader intoned, voice echoing through the temple courtyard, "only those who master pain and spirit may stay." Haruto accepted the challenge, enduring nights beneath freezing waterfalls, days spent walking barefoot on jagged stones, fasting until his body trembled. Through this relentless trial, the miraculous milk continued to flow, a testament to his unwavering will and the ancient secrets Guro had passed on. The boy, growing stronger with each passing season, learned not only swordplay but the meaning of sacrifice and loyalty from the man who had once been his wet nurse, and now became his guardian and father figure. As the war below raged on, the story of the mysterious protector who nurtured the heir from his very flesh spread like wildfire, rallying allies and striking fear into enemies. Finally, the time came to descend from the mountains, to raise the Minamoto banners once more and reclaim the legacy stolen by treachery. The battles were fierce. The clash of swords at Uji River echoed like thunder, arrows darkened the skies, and the seas near Danara burned with the fire of warships. In the thick of it, Haruto fought like a man possessed, fierce and unyielding, while the boy, now a young warrior and commander, led with the heart of one who had known loss and love in equal measure. Victory was bittersweet, marked by the toll of fallen comrades and the scars of betrayal. But as peace settled over the land, the boy-turned-general placed a carved wooden statue of Haruto holding an infant at the heart of his estate, a silent testament to the man who had given life, nurtured strength, and defied the conventions of honor and shame. Haruto spent his final years wandering the provinces, caring for orphaned children and sharing the quiet wisdom that true strength lies in compassion and courage to nurture life even in the darkest times. When he passed, his ashes were scattered into the flowing Kamo River, and a humble temple was erected in his honor, bearing no crest but the image of a man cradling a child, waves of milk flowing like rivers of light, a lasting symbol that in the shadows of history, some of the greatest warriors wielded not swords but love, and some of the bravest men shaped destiny with the gentlest hands. As the cold winds of autumn swept through Kyoto, whispers of Haruto's strange role as a male wet nurse began to transform from scandalous gossip into legendary tales whispered in taverns and temples alike. The city's narrow alleys, once hostile to the disgraced Ronin, now echoed with murmurs of a man who had defied all conventions to save the heir of Minamoto. The boy, now named Masanori, grew strong under Haruto's tutelage, learning the ways of the sword by day and the songs of loyalty by night. While the shadows of the Taira clan loomed ever closer, their agents weaving plots thick as the morning mist. One fateful night, beneath a sky thick with stars, a secret meeting was held in a dimly lit teahouse where courtiers and spies exchanged poisoned words, plotting to seize the heir and end the Minamoto line forever. Haruto, ever vigilant, caught wind of the scheme through a trusted messenger, and in the dead of night, he moved swiftly through Kyoto's labyrinthine streets, his senses honed by years of survival, to protect the boy who had become more than a charge. "A son, you think they can break us?" Haruto whispered fiercely as he strapped his sword and prepared to face the storm. "We are the blood that will rise from the ashes." The coming weeks were a tempest of ambushes, narrow escapes, and battles fought in shadowed gardens and moonlit rooftops. Each encounter forged the bond between Haruto and Masanori deeper, their lives entwined in the dance of war and survival. As the Genpei War erupted fully, armies marched across the land, banners flying and steel clashing, and Haruto found himself not just a protector but a warrior reborn, leading men into battle with the fierce loyalty born from a lifetime of hardship. Amidst the chaos, Masanori's resolve hardened, the lessons learned at his wet nurse's side guiding him as he navigated the brutal politics of war and honor. The final confrontation at Danara was a maelstrom of fire and blood, where Haruto and Masanori fought side by side, their fates sealed by courage and sacrifice. When the dust settled, a new era dawned for Japan, and Haruto's legacy, once hidden in shame, was forever etched into the annals of history as the man who nourished a future emperor with the strength of his body and soul. The spring winds carried the scent of blooming cherry blossoms over the newly rebuilt Minamoto estate, where Masanori, now a seasoned general, stood before the gathered lords and warriors, his eyes reflecting the hard-won wisdom of years marked by loss and victory alike. Behind him, the carved wooden statue of Haruto cradling an infant was placed at the heart of the hall, a silent testament to the man who had defied all odds to nurture a legacy that would shape Japan's future. "It was not the strength of the sword alone that saved us," Masanori declared in a voice steady and proud, "but the strength to protect and nurture life in the face of despair, a gift bestowed upon us by one man's courage and sacrifice." Haruto, now aged and weathered, had long abandoned titles and lands, choosing instead to roam the countryside, bringing aid to orphans and the forgotten, nursing them as he once had the child destined for greatness. His story, once shrouded in secrecy and shame, blossomed into legend, carried on the lips of traveling monks and whispered in the flickering light of village hearths. As he lay beneath the cherry trees in his final days, surrounded by the children he had saved, Haruto smiled softly, knowing that his unconventional path had forged a destiny greater than any sword strike. When his breath left him, his ashes were scattered into the Kamo River, where the waters whispered of mercy and strength, and the temple built in his honor bore no clan crest, only the image of a man and child framed by flowing milk, an eternal symbol that sometimes the gentlest hands wield the greatest power, and the bravest hearts carry the weight of empires. Thus, the tale of Haruto, the male wet nurse of medieval Japan, passed into history, a story of honor, sacrifice, and the quiet strength found in nurturing life against all odds.